Hey guys, Rollout here, and welcome back to Builder's Block. This week was a bit of a creative roller coaster. It started off so promising, and then took a nosedive. I felt Builder's Block pretty hard, and had to go back to working on previous projects, just so that I could feel success on some level. You can follow all of this as it happens by supporting me on Patreon, where I post daily updates. You can also support the show by liking this video and sharing it with friends. Keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle, and let's get started. So I started the week by pursuing a couple of ideas I had. I saw this 3x3 cube online, and having built several 4x4 cubes at this point, I wanted to try it out just to see how it worked. It's pretty cool, it's pretty neat and clean. I don't think I can do as much with it as I did with the 4x4 cubes. You can see the Nuva cube compared to it. That's one perk of having changed Alpha's color scheme. Now I can pilfer those medium blue elements and put them in the Nuva cube so that is complete all on its own. So that's nice. I also had an idea to just build an articulated hand using all of these rounded elements and tiny little hinge pieces. And it turned out pretty well. Here it is, all splayed out. Here it is, creating a fist. And here it is, holding on to the cube I built previously. I think that this is a pretty good hand design, and if I ever build any giant titans, this would be something worth using. On the next day, I decided to give Donut a shot. In the last episode, I talked about how I want to build a new Donut, and I want him to be a very, very small ATV. And this is what I came up with. Now, I will warn you, this doesn't really go anywhere. Not this week, at least. I'd like to revisit this design. I would like to use a lot of aspects of this design in what becomes the final model. But right now, I just could not get this to work. I really like the concepts of it though, so let's take a look at it. Here it is in ATV mode. I think the shaping is a little bit weird, and I think the positioning of a lot of these rounded elements just doesn't give me a lot of room to clean it up, make things more solid, make things look the way I prefer them to look. Here it is from the back. It's a good framework. I think it's a good start, but I'm going to have to kind of rethink a lot of this design. Now, here is what it turns into, and I really love a lot of these ideas. I love the wheel management, how some of the wheels fold in to his body and the others become his feet. It means he doesn't have these giant ATV wheels hanging off of him. I like the head coming from the top. I like the handlebars becoming his chest. My problem is, again, this design is very hard to clean up, and it's quite fiddly and difficult to make more solid, and that's really the biggest problem I have with it. Furthermore, the more I tried, the more trouble I ran into in attempting to make his arms work. Everything I tried did not work, and I gave up at a certain point. Again, I'd like to revisit this. I'd like to try some new things in the future. I'd like to start fresh, take some of these ideas and turn it into something better. But for right now, this design sort of went nowhere. Now, feeling a little defeated by this, on the next day, I got a bricklink order, and I decided to just do some small maintenance work on a couple of my Promare creations. So here is the Matoy tech with Gallo finally inside. I got the right chest piece, I got the right head piece, but once I got him in there, I decided that I wanted this torso's connection to the rest of the mech to be a little bit more solid, and I changed it from a one stud connection into this 2x1 neck bracket. Now, it only comes in clear, and I don't really like the look of it. I like the look of a black neck bracket a whole lot better, especially since Gallo kind of wears this medical sleeve with like black straps on it. So I think that fits a lot better. But for the most part, the Matoy Tech is going to have its helmet on, its visor engaged, so you're not even going to see it. It really doesn't matter, and this is just way, way more solid. Now, the way it attaches meant I had to change the connection of a couple of things on his back, and I don't have the right colored pieces for that. I need them in dark gray, and I don't have them. I added them to a couple of Bricklink orders I was already creating at the time that I built this, so those will be here soon. It'll be finished soon, I promise. I know I keep saying that, but it's just funny that the moment I thought it would be complete, I decided to change something, and now I have to wait even longer. Now, this is how you can display Gallo in the Matoy Tech, but when you do attach the helmet piece, you do have to take the hair off, which is not incredibly apparent, I don't think, but it's worth mentioning. He does show up like this for a very split second in the movie, so you could technically display him like this. But more often than not, he's not going to have the hair attached. I really like that face. It's from a Speed Racer set, and I think it's just silly enough. Like, I could have used some other faces, but this one is goofy in a way I love. The eyebrows aren't quite accurate, but I definitely think it's worth it. I also decided to finally build his third configuration for his hook weapon. For the longest time, I didn't know what to do about this. It's more of a bladed weapon. In fact, it's really more of a chainsaw. The blue energy kind of coils just around the edge instead of all the way around it like it is here, but this is the best I could come up with. And I think it's fine. I struggled finding a way for him to hold on to this, but then I realized that this 1x1 with a bar attached to it comes in orange. Yet another piece I tacked onto a Bricklink order, and now I have to wait for. But you can also see that the rod of the weapon is a little bit longer. I think if I kept the same rod that I used for the other configurations of this weapon, it would be too short. It would look a little bit silly, but because of the way I stacked all of these cylinders on top of each other, it means I can put two different rods together to make something even longer. In fact, this whole weapon is supposed to have a much longer staff, but they just don't make any longer staves than the ones I have used for the gun mode and the hook mode. But again, those cylinders allow it to be just a little bit longer. Here it is with the Matoy Tech, almost finished, and I think having this weapon is very important because it means he can then sword fight with Leo, and once both of them are finished, I will show that all together. Speaking of which, here is Leo. Since I gave the Matoy Tech its other weapon, I decided to also give Leo his other weapon. I didn't really know what to do for his bow for the longest time, but then I decided to make his throne in light aqua. And lucky enough for me, these blade pieces, which I'm going to use for his sword in green, also come in light aqua. So stick two of them together and hey, you got a bow. For the arrow piece here, I think it's cool that it is all translucent. That green piece comes in medium blue, transmedium blue, and I've already ordered that, so that'll look pretty good there. And then the arrow head is going to be pink with that blue flame on the end. It's kind of a fiery arrow, which is appropriate, and I think it'll look pretty cool. I'm still missing a few pieces for Leo himself as well, but those are coming along with his throne and the Matoy Tech pieces. So hopefully in the next week or two, my Promare project will be complete and I'll show them all together once again. On the next day, I was feeling a little bit of builder's block. I was trying to figure out ways to innovate my donut design. I thought about using some finger hinges to solve some of its problems, and it kind of just devolved into me playing with finger hinges aimlessly, and I came up with this little sculpture. It's kind of nothing. I mean, it kind of looks like a sailboat or a catapult or something, but it's basically just finger hinges with rubber bands wrapped around them. It's kind of a fun fidget toy, I guess. This can kind of come down and then swing around to the other side, so it has a little bit of a different shape at the bottom, and you can also kind of pull it back and fling little tiny Lego pieces out of the end there. It's just a source of inspiration, I guess. Do what you will with any of these concepts. Once again, on the next day, I was just really feeling builder's block. I was trying to innovate with this donut design and I couldn't do anything. My design process, I've explained it before, is kind of just putting pieces together until something works, and this is what happens when it doesn't go the way I want it to. You have these kind of interesting moving elements that don't really do anything. This is the best of the concepts I came up with on this next day, and it's okay, but just very limited, and I couldn't really make it turn into a transformer, donut, or otherwise, but it's worth taking a look at. So it starts off like this, and then it kind of opens up, turns inside out, and then is basically the same shape, just the other way around. It's a neat conversion. I just don't know if I can really do anything with it. Having experienced all of these failures in a row, I just wanted to make progress on something again, so I retreated to one of my previous projects. I decided to continue work on Die Dragon, and this is what I've come up with for his wing. It's quite bulky, it's pretty heavy. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. I think it looks pretty good, and I'm not sure there's anything else I can do. But I don't know how I feel about some of my solutions to certain things. Some connections are a little strange, and I don't know if I'm okay with it. Then again, pretty much all of my dimensional robos are pretty slapdash. I just kind of threw them together to get them done, and it kind of reminds me of the way I used to build things back in the old days when I built like the Zoid, Liger Zero, Berserk Fury, all those. In that era of my Lego career, I guess, I would just kind of throw things together and then publish it, and it was a more simple time. But these dimensional robos kind of remind me of that, because I am sort of just doing that. I don't super care about solidity or if they look perfect and accurate, because the source material is so widely varied. Like, they look different on the card, they look different in the show, and so there's a lot of freedom. I can kind of do what I want with these designs, and I don't care nearly as much as I do with a lot of my other projects, and I like it. There's a lot of freedom there, like I said. Here is the wingspan. I did not quite build the second wing. I still need some pieces to finish even one of these two wings, but like I said, I think it looks pretty good. I think aesthetically it fits with the rest of the body. Here it is from the bottom. Now, it's very simple from the bottom, and to be perfectly honest with you, not quite accurate, because we do have some source material of what Die Dragon looks like from the bottom on the V-Series version of the card, the reboot version of the card, and it's a little different than this. The red parts are actually supposed to kind of fit into the wing so that they are fully visible on both sides. But I couldn't really do that in a way I liked while keeping everything very clean, because I've mentioned before that I wanted to clean up a lot of these anti-studs, and this was my solution for that. I've combined kind of snot techniques with inverted slopes here to achieve this very plain looking, well, no pun intended, plane wing, because Die Dragon is kind of a plane, despite being a dragon, obviously, and he has very static wings, and I think this is okay, because, again, On at least one version of the card, we only see one side of him, and I wanted to make sure that one side was great and the other side was good enough. Like I said, I kind of care less about these models, and so it means I can get them done with a lot more efficiency than I can with Donut, apparently, who is giving me so much trouble. Here is kind of a look inside of the wing. You can see I use that snot technique with the 1x2 or 1x4 that has only 2 studs on top, and the rest of it's a tile. I don't know if that's clear, but you can kind of see it in there. I use that technique to attach a lot of these panels, and you can see that this entire bottom section only attaches with 1 stud. It's more solid than you would think. I mean, you can shake it around. This guy has some pretty good swooshability, despite the fact that most of his weight is in his wings, and you can definitely feel that, and they do sag ever so slightly, but you can shake him around. You can fly him around, and that's good enough for me. But yeah, there are some really weird connections in this that, once again, I'm not sure how I feel about, but I'm not sure if I want to do anything better. I think that, once again, I'm just a little too eager to get a new Transformer built, and it's making me impatient. I've run into this problem once or twice before on Builder's Block, and you'd think I'd learn. These things come naturally and take time. I'll build a new Transformer when the universe wills me to. I am kind of thinking I'm a little too hung up on Donut at the moment, and need to try building a completely unique design in order to clear my head. Anyway, special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, especially my leader class patrons, Valraven, Beyond the Brick, and Beta. Until next time, this has been Rollout, signing off.